Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena for another edition of the Florida Everblades pregame show. Will Henshaw alongside Jake Maurice previewing the December 15th clash here at Hertz Arena against the Orlando Solar Bears. And Jake, it seemed like every game to start the season, October, early November, was against Orlando. We haven't seen them in a little bit, but now the Solar Bears are back in town for another really good clash.
Yeah, it's the first of 3 straight meetings against Orlando, 2 here and then 1 on Sunday up at Amway Center in Orlando. As you said, Will, it's been a little bit. It's been kind of nice, but the teams are going to quickly resume familiarities, expecting this to be a good physical series of hockey this weekend.
Now, the Florida Everblades coming off of a tough loss on Teddy Bear Night to the South Carolina Stingrays, but Orlando's had a couple of bumps and bruises along the way entering tonight's matchup. It's kind of been, you know, 2 sides of the same coin for Orlando and Florida.
Yeah, both teams that they're having right now over the past few games a struggle stringing some wins together, but they've also been pretty decent at getting out of the losing column, and that's what both teams are trying to do tonight. Florida, of course, coming off that 2-1 overtime loss on Teddy Bear Toss night, whereas Orlando, they lost on Tuesday 5-3 against South Carolina. So it's 2 teams that are tied in the South Division standings right now for 4th for that, if the playoffs were to start today, that final playoff spot. So this is a huge series for these 2 teams. This could very well be a 6-point swing that could shift momentum in the South Division for a long time going forward. So important matchups for the Blades and the Solar Bears tonight. And the Blades over the last couple series, they've gone 500 in them, 1-1-1 record. That's not going to be good enough against Orlando.
And Orlando, despite not having too much success at the Amway Center against the Everblades, they're finding a little bit more here at Hertz Arena against the back-to-back Kelly Cup champions. 2-1 in their 3 games played here so far. But this is home game number 4 and home game number 5 of a 5-game homestand coming up against the Solar Bears. But then, Jake, you've got 4 road games against 4 different opponents all throughout next week. So this is a really golden opportunity for the Blades to get 2 really crucial home wins.
Yeah, and it's important to be feeling good going into that tough road swing. You're starting out at the Amway Center where the Blades are a perfect 4-0 this season. But Orlando is a very talented team, and if they were going into that game with a couple of wins, would certainly feel a lot different than if Florida's going into those games off a couple of victories. And then after that, you've got Jacksonville, Savannah, South Carolina, 3 teams that have been playing some good hockey recently, and you want to be going into those games feeling good about yourself. It's the perfect time to get some wins stacked together. Florida, they've gone on 1 extended winning streak this year. That was when they won 4 games in a row back in November. Apart from that, it's been tough for Florida to get back-to-back wins this season. So this is a time in the schedule where you've got 6 games against 4 South Division opponents, with 4 of those games being on the road. It is very important that the Blades can get something going here, positive momentum rolling, to move up the standings.
Jake, we've seen a couple of different skaters for the Everblades get on the score sheet in the past couple of games, but one player that has stood out in the past couple of matchups hasn't gotten the score sheet at all. It's been starting netminder Cam Johnson, a shutout in the Friday game and then a very complete game in Saturday's loss. But it's always good to have a netminder in between the pipes that can really carry Florida to a couple of strong wins.
Yeah, I mean, when your goalie is giving up an average of 1 goal against a game through 2 games, you're going to do pretty good if he can keep that up. And Cam is a goalie who's playing his best hockey right now. It was a little bit of a shakier start than we were used to from him at the beginning of the season, but he just keeps getting better and better. And he's a guy who likes to play a lot of minutes. He likes getting more trust in the crease. Of course, the team also has Evan Cormier, who has been no slouch for the Blades. But when Cam gets on a roll, it's best to keep him going as much as possible. So I would expect that Cam is going to start 2 of these 3 games against Orlando. Not sure how the breakdown will be. And then I think when you're going into that next week series, the road trip, I think you're going to have to roll with a hot hand, and right now that is Cam Johnson.
Really, really strong net minding that we've seen out of the Florida keepers the past couple of matchups. But Jake, we've got a game teed up here against the Orlando Solar Bears, another really strong South Division matchup. So I think it's time we go into the Griffith Group of Downing Fry Realty 3 keys to the game.
Well, net front battles are always important against Orlando. They like to control the top of the crease, whichever zone they're in. That means when you're in the attacking zone, you got to fight against their blue liners. Make sure you can get sticks in lanes, get yourself in front of their goalie to block the eyes. And on the other end of the ice, you need to do the exact opposite. You need to push their guys out and keep, whether it's Cam or Cormier, keep their vision towards the pucks as clean as can be. Second key is one going back to Saturday to Teddy Bear Toss. That's the energy for the team, particularly going into the later stages of the game. Florida was all over South Carolina in the first period. They couldn't get a goal, and you could tell that really hurt, and they didn't come out with the same energy in the middle frame. You got to keep that going no matter what the situation in the game is. Florida's shown that they can do that throughout the year. They just got to make sure that you can do it again here tonight. And then finally, it's always important to make sure you stay disciplined. Orlando, they're strong on their special teams. They can hurt you if you give them too many power play opportunities. They have hurt Florida a few times back in those 2 losses, 4-2, both of them in early November when the Blades welcomed Orlando to Hertz Arena the last time. So staying out of the blocks and keeping your head on straight going to be important, as it always is.
A matchup against Orlando in Florida, like you said, is always a fun affair. These two teams have seen plenty of each other this season, and another game in that history going down tonight. Puck drop at 7:30. We'll see you there.